So last time I talked about a Conan the Barbarian book. Oh, I forgot. Hi everyone, number one Marmaduke fan here. But last time I talked about a Conan the Barbarian book, I said John Buscema because that's what I said when I was 9. And then I finished the video and I said, I probably said John Buscema's name wrong. I'm doomed forever to mispronounce John Buscema's name every time I try. So, the point I was trying to make last Conan review is John Buscema is one of these artists who he kind of ascends the medium so that I actually just forget what I'm reading and I'm just thinking, John Buscema art the entire time. And these are some of the few like $1 comics that are going to stay in my keep forever collection so I can just open it up and look at the way he draws faces and stuff and reference it. So the idea for this started out as a manga versus Western comic, but spoiler alert, that there's no contest. I give up on whatever the heck Code Geass is. My rule is I'll read something as long as I enjoy it. I kind of enjoyed it in a dumb way, like a Transformers movie for a while, but it Code Geass's main conceit is, what if a Batman, Zorro, Punisher, rebel against the evil empire was in a silly high school situation, and the class president, she's got him wrapped around her finger. I had all of these backhanded compliments in mind for Code Geass, like, this might be a good premise for a weird Batman alternate universe, or this might be a okay high school fanfic your friend wrote, but I gave up. Its problem is that in trying to mix non-serious stuff with serious stuff, it doesn't do either well. I've read slice of life manga that are actually quite meaningful and really make ordinary little mundane events in life really interesting because it sort of makes the point that things in normal life are actually really significant and part of a bigger picture. But because Code Geass, the silly Billy high school scenes just end up making him seem less impressive as a character, and then the super duper terrorist scenes, well, they don't really. It touches on ideas about anarchy in society without actually doing anything interesting with that. Now, that being said, even when I hate a manga and I just get tired of it and I just want to stop reading it, usually the manga artist, Majiko, is always trying to get me invested and make me happy with them and be rooting for them. So good work, Majiko. I'm just going to flip ahead to his comments. The events of the first season of the anime conclude in this volume. It felt short, but for the past 2 years, every month was full of excitement. I felt that I gained something in the months with 31 days, and I felt that I lost something in the months with 30 days. I can't explain how I felt about February. I realized that I couldn't have completed this manga on my own. I'm grateful for the support of my editors, assistants, sales, and readers. I also have to thank Sunrise and, of course, my friends and family for their support. This is starting to sound like the thank you note you'd write at the end of the series. I would love it if you could support me for the next volume as well. Thank you, and to his assistants, Nagase and Ueda. Well, good for you, Majiko. It's not your fault. It's the writers. Now, that being said, the reason Conan the Barbarian won this East versus West fight, sorry, weebs, you have some things to learn from Marvel Comics Senpai still, is Majiko is a good, solid artist, but he suffers from same face syndrome. And I've seen manga artists who do not suffer from same face syndrome. They're able to give just enough variety to their characters that you can discern different characters, or they use some, neat little tricks. I don't know, the design of this, like, if you don't have the bright pink hair color, good luck spotting her. I guess you have, like, the dresses that call attention to her chest, but good luck spotting her throughout the volume. So what John Buscema does that a lot of manga artists don't is he has actual facial variety. Oh, there's like a whole cool tangent here where I've got this theory that, well, it's really obvious. Every artist is influenced by their culture and their past. And so when you look at Japanese prints, what do you see? You see a lot of like kind of fun, very simple flowing lines. A lot of the women have lantern jaws and some of them have kind of like cross eyes. But obviously the idea of a lot of Japanese print masters was, we're going to simplify the human form to a few very simple lines and shapes and then color it lightly. And so when this was introduced to Europe, it was a craze. It was called the Japanese, and Van Gogh, all of the European artists were completely fascinated in how unusual Japanese prints were. And they immediately started facilitating that into the Impressionist movement and the Post-Impressionist movement. So fast forward, few hundred years, and Japan is still very informed by its culture. They, just like old Japanese print masters, would all have a very similar approach to simplifying the human form. Manga artists tend to have a very similar approach to simplifying the human form and making it aesthetic, but then you end up getting a sameness to it. Now, obviously, many manga artists stand out from the crowd. They break the tradition, but I just think it's interesting how there seems to be a parallel between the manga tradition and the floating world, woodcut prints of the 1800s tradition. In contrast, Western art has always been a little hectic. Like the Italians would go up and check out Germany, and they'd say, "Haha, we're ahead of these German artists." And then Albrecht Dürer would come down from Germany. He'd say, "Oh no, the Italian artists, they're ahead of us. I must study all these Italian artists and then bring that up to Germany." And then the Dutch would come over and they'd say, "Oh my, look at this. We must copy this." And then they'd say, "Oh, look at these Caravagista guys and their chiaroscuro. We must copy this." So even though they were all white, because they were all these different countries, it was sort of like they were always discovering each other, and everybody was racing to bring these discoveries back home as soon as possible. So the result of that is lots of variety. And John Buscema is the type of guy who I feel like if he wouldn't have been a Michelangelo, he definitely would have been a Golden Age illustrator. So this is in contrast to someone like Steve Ditko, who has a simple style. It's a little awkward, but Steve Ditko is on a very short list. The Steve Ditko Stanley Spider-Man run, it's on a very short list. You listen, Weebs, of comics that every single person on the planet should read. Every single person on the planet should read this series. Even if you look at it and say, "Oh, that's not a good drawing." Yeah, but what Steve Ditko is proof of is that a not super realist artist can make great comics, because what Steve Ditko got was his energy and his emotion, and like I just kept thinking, oh man, this is like, Mysterio is like totally a Shonen Jump anime bad guy. Look at that, flipping up backwards and kicking him from behind, and like the cool recoil and the spinning effects. Steve Ditko had a blast doing these, and he made very, very fun comics to read, despite his maybe limitations drawing the human figure. And I don't know, Mysterio is so cool. Like, he's just a regular guy who knows how to roll with a punch, and he can just kick Spider-Man's butt. I hate that they made him a joke later. He is so dope. Anyway, stop coloring comic books this way, Marvel. Stop it. The old school comic books do not deserve this like weird faux 3D treatment. Eric Larson is a cartoony artist. Anyway, so the point is that if Steve Ditko is kind of a rough and tumble kind of artist, John Buscema is a master. He is someone who would have fit with the golden age of illustration. Now, both of these Conan books, they have problematic elements. The problematic elements are hilarious. They make it fun to read, and you kind of get a feel for how John Buscema evolved, because this is like issue 50 something, and this is like issue 180 something. So you see a real jump. So John Buscema is the artist. Steve Gann is the embellisher. I wish I knew the difference between an embellisher, a finisher, and an inker. I should have paid more attention when Zach explained that. But Queen of the Black Coast, this is the issue that introduced Bayleet, and my first observation was when it's based on a Robert E. Howard story, it's sort of like Robert E. Howard gets the appeal of the character, and he makes sure to emphasize the barbarian stuff, because what makes Conan not just another big strong guy with a sword is the barbarian part of his character. So there's like this whole comedic scene where the court tries to arrest him and he doesn't understand their laws or their rules. He has his own code of ethics, so he just beats up everyone and runs off. And I love how, this transition is great. Thin line around the box, thick line around the box. This is the flashback. So you keep knowing, flashback, 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 until the thick lines go away. Boom, we're back to the present time. That was great. I gotta show you the problematic stuff, because that's just too good. So the captain, he avoids Gondola, and voluptuous, dusky women with great red blossoms on their hair stand and call out to his sailors, posing and posturing brazenly. Look at that outfit. That looks like something that should have been a meme. Like right after, every once in a while, Japan will come up with some cheeky outfit, like with a boob window or a sweater that goes all the way down the back, and then everybody will draw their OCs in that outfit. This should be a meme outfit. Look at that. That's great. Could they write this today? I don't think there's any modern Marvel writer who is ballsy enough, and I use that term advisedly, to do a scene like this. And it's great. It's creating this sort of mystical, magical world. So, okay, Joe Quesada is just hoping that lots of people buy this, but absolutely no one from Polygon or CBR will buy it, because this is whitewashing. These are actually black characters in the story. He's just hoping that every SJW looks at this and just assumes they're white and isn't interested, because if they actually open it up, they're going to see black pirates who are essentially slaves to Bailey. That's problematic, and she even calls one a coal tiger at some point. And of course, this whole story is problematic, and that's the whole point. So Conan decides not to fire an arrow into her. Something stays his hand. Even though he doesn't have a problem killing a woman who's going to kill him, he doesn't kill her, and she notices this. So she says, Belit would speak with this savage one. Oh man, you can't use the word savage. Nothing about comics you can say anymore. Who are you? Whence come you? Conan is alert for treachery, lest her slim hand move toward her jeweled dagger, and his open hand will stretch her senseless on the deck. So he's ready to knock her flat, but he's held too many women in his iron-thewed arms not to recognize the light that burns in this one's dark eyes. You are no soft Hyborian. By Ishtar, I thought I have ranged the seas from the coasts of Zingara to the fires of the ultimate south. I have never seen your like. You are fierce and hard as a gray wolf. So she tells him to fight my coal tiger, Odongo, and Odongo killed his friend, so he kills him. And then she compliments him some more. Look at me, I say. I am Belit, queen of the coast. So she likes that. Okay, the point of this is Belit is a remarkable woman. She is a woman who commands a ship of black pirates who worship her as a goddess. She is a martial woman. She is good at the martial virtues in a manly thing. But when she sees a man like Conan, who is not soft, he's not even the biggest and strongest man. He is a hard man. She's immediately attracted to that because it reflects what she is really. She is a hard, strong woman. She likes hard, strong men. She says, take me, Conan. Take me and crush me with your fierce love. I am a queen by fire and steel and slaughter. Be thou my king. And then she does this dance, and look at this. How did they get away with this even back then? We all know what happened. All right, so this is staying in my Keep Forever collection. So, okay, yeah, the point is obvious. It's problematic. That's part of the charm of it. Now I want to show you this and John Buscema evolving his art, because this has some great examples in it. So, there's like a mysterious writer, and look, 7 old dudes. Where'd the manga go? Okay, are you paying attention, manga artists? Look, we got 7 old dudes, and all 7 of these old dudes are different. This one has a long nose with a bulge on it. This one has kind of like a good old Roman emperor nose. Well, actually, that's a good Roman emperor nose. That's like a bigger nose with like a strong bridge. I forgot even the terms for it, but they all have a different beard. They all have a different brow. They all have a different jawline. They all have a different chin shape. They all have their eyes positioned in different spots on their head. So you can instantly differentiate all 7 of these old dudes in a similar outfit with a similar costume piece on their head. That's the John... Oh, that's such a gift. I'm going to keep this forever and keep opening it just to see how he does that stuff. So later on, there's like some evil things going on. There's a beautiful princess lady. Okay, John Buscema is the artist, and they're giving him top billing now because now he's a bigger deal. Ernie Chan is the finishes. So what I think finishes means is that John Buscema is doing maybe like... I don't know what that means. It means they're giving him top billing as a storyteller, so maybe he's doing visual direction. So I've got no clue. If you know the difference between a finisher, an embellisher, and an inker, help me out. But this is clearly the artist ascendant at Marvel, and the artist getting more respect. So there's some exciting stuff with the whole team. Okay, this face, what I think John Buscema does well is he mathematically thinks out his beautiful faces, so you don't end up with any like awkward eyes, that are too far apart or something. And then I like that they explain that this woman was a shield maiden, so she's trained in the martial virtues all her life to help you understand why she's so ready and capable of defending herself. It makes sense. It's an ancient world. It's a feisty fighting world. You help the reader understand why the character is able to kick so much butt. As a couple other cool big dudes show up to be part of Conan's super cool team. By the way, I know that your boy Zach loves Barry Windsor Smith. I don't know. I don't know. What I'm scared of when I look at this is it says John Buscema on the front, but it's just painted over it. So I call this killing the line art, because if you just take John Buscema line art and you just paint on top of it, I don't get a look at the John Buscema art. I look at you basically tracing a digital painting on top of his art. So I hope that's not what they're doing. I'll see. I love John Buscema enough. I'd check it out. But please do not kill this cool old art style by digitally painting on top of it. It doesn't work. Those two things don't work together. So I marked this page because this is John Buscema showing us facial variety at work. Like there's a stock hero face for, big, strong men, but he changes that a little for Conan. He makes this cheekbone jut out a little more. He puts a little bit more gel down there. He gives him a little bit more bushiness to his eyebrow. He defines the rest of the cheekbone over here. All of this to kind of make Conan a bit more Neanderthal-ish. He still has, this heroic handsomeness to it, but he looks more brooding. He looks more ancient. He looks like a bigger Neanderthal kind of guy. That's the facial variety at work. And then the bad guy shows up. Gosh, so keep forever books, even if Conan the Barbarian is kind of stupidly simple and really cheesy, and it's okay. This is by JB and JR. That's not John Romita, is it? I'm always so interested to know who worked on these and who it might have been. And this cover was by JW. I don't know who JW would be. I didn't like this cover. I like the sketchiness and the roughness of Conan, but something was off about this head. And look, I love John Buscema, but even he will have like a wonky face at times. I thought I saw an example of one where it looked like someone's cheeks were poking too far out. There we go. Okay, this one. So this one, it looks like something went wrong in the drafting stage on her face. But it doesn't matter, because John Buscema has a lively, free, loose, fun illustrator, golden age illustrator style. He's a master. He's the kind of guy you need to collect just to constantly be referencing and learning how he does it. And you got to trust me on this. Despite Steve Ditko's weaknesses in drawing the human figure, you got to have him in your library for emotion, dynamism, and pacing a comic page. So illustration, the art of drawing human figures dynamically, dynamic comic composition for Steve Ditko. So I lost there they are. You two Kohais have a lot to learn from your senpai. That's it. I'm no more Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. Catch you later. Roommates.